everybody.
Hi everybody.
Parashat Vayeshev. We have this amazing parsha. The sons of Yaakov and Yaakov are living now in the land of Canaan. We have the story of Yosef. Yosef dreams dreams. The brothers decide to sell Yosef. Yosef goes to Egypt. We have the story of Yehuda and Tamar, and we have the story of Yosef in the house of Potiphar. And eventually Yosef goes to jail. Yaakov sits in the land of Canaan with his sons. Yosef is Yaakov's favorite son, and Yaakov decides to make him a striped coat. Kutonet pasim. Now the word pasim in Hebrew means stripes, but it's also an acronym for names of angels that will protect Yosef. Rashi talks about the 4 tortures that Yosef is going to have in his life. Yosef dreams in a young age and tells them to his brothers. And the brothers don't like to hear what Yosef is telling them. Yosef is telling them about a dream he had about a bundle of wheat, the bundles of wheat that all the brothers are having, and suddenly the bundles are coming and bowing to the bundle of Yosef. The brothers get really angry. And later on, he's dreaming about this. He's in the sky and he sees the stars and he sees the sun and he sees the moon, and all of them are bowing to him. And he tells this story, and his father gets furious about him, even though he knows that whatever he's telling is true. And the brothers are saying to him that the father and mother will also bow to you. One day, Yaakov is sending Yosef to see his brothers in the field. The brothers see Yosef from far away and they say that they should kill him. Reuven, the big brother, tells them that they shouldn't kill him and they should just throw him to the pit. The brothers agree with him and they grab Yosef and they throw him to the pit. And Reuven is telling them, we'll decide later what to do with him. Reuven leaves. During that time, Yehuda decides with his brothers, he tells them that they should sell him, and the brothers agree. Yosef is being sold and goes down to Egypt. The brothers are taking the coat of Yosef and they put blood on it in order to tell their father that an animal ate Yosef.
So as soon as Yosef is being thrown to the pit, everything changes. You have to think about it that Yosef was 17 years old. All his life he was raised under his father Yaakov's protection. While his brothers would go to the field and work the land and be shepherds, he was always protected in the tent, studying Torah, studying the secrets of the universe, studying everything that his father was teaching him from his fathers and from Hashem. And he knew everything about the universe and the secrets and how it works and all the secrets of Judaism. But the common sense of how to behave to other people, he was lacking that. And in a way he was very innocent, but also it was kind of foolish that he would go and tell his dreams and say things like, your bundles were bowing to me, when in fact he knew already, or he should have at least thought about it, that his brothers are already quite jealous of the extra attention that he gets and the special, way that his dad, their dad, is treating him. But Yosef didn't think about it. Now in Judaism, we know that dreams have a very strong power. And even though not all the symbols in dreams are real, still there could be dreams that would predict things that are about to happen and that can warn us, and different things that can really relate to our life and what's going to happen. So when you tell a dream to someone, it's like you're opening a letter from above, from heaven. And if you do that, you should make sure that the person that you're telling the dream to is someone good and someone that really loves you, or at least care for you enough to explain the dream in a way that won't harm you. So even though Yosef dreamed all these dreams, you should never, go and tell it to his brothers. He should have felt it. But Yosef didn't think about it. The moment that it changes is when he's in the pit. In the Torah it says that the pit did not have water. So Rashi, a very big Jewish sage, rabbi, is explaining. Says water, the Torah is highlighting it, that water it didn't have. But snakes and scorpions it had. Means that could have been already the end. Even though they didn't want to kill him, even though they wanted to just throw him into a pit for now until they decide what to do, this could have already been the end without them even meaning to, because there were snakes and scorpions. But in that moment, Yosef starts to take responsibility. Instead of being mad at his brothers, he understands that the way that he behaved until now was not the right way. And he doesn't victimize himself. Now in the Torah we see it right away. Even though the brothers decide to sell him, the moment that he changes, the moment that he understands, I can no longer continue to behave the way I behaved until now. All these gifts that Hashem gave me, all these studies, if I don't know how to use them in order to behave good and kind to people, it's like I'm doing wrong. As soon as I understood that, the Torah says that all of a sudden a caravan of Ishmaelites is coming, and they're carrying perfumes. Now, Ishmaelites today and back then, what would they carry on a caravan? Oil, right? Oil, gasoline. But all of a sudden, the Torah says that this caravan was carrying perfumes. And that's because Yosef was changing and he was a righteous person. So they carry him with, even though he's going to be sold and he's now a slave, they carry him with perfumes and they go all the way to Egypt. Now when they get to Egypt, he's been sold to Potiphar. Now Potiphar, from the first minute that he sees Yosef, first of all, Yosef was gorgeous. He got the beauty from Rachel. He was gorgeous, and also he was shining, he was full of light. Potiphar sees that this is not a regular person. And when he brings him home, Yosef, instead of being depressed and thinking all the time about, I was a prince in my home, Yosef does not victimize himself. Yosef, in every situation that he's been thrown to, he just brushes it off, cleans the dust, get up, take responsibility, and does his best for the place that he is in. And even though he came as a regular slave to the house of Potiphar, pretty soon, because he was so honest and so responsible and working with all his heart and soul, not even for once stopping and pitying himself, Potiphar acknowledged that. And pretty soon after, Yosef becomes the manager of all the essence of Potiphar. Now, at that point, not only Potiphar, the owner of the house, acknowledged that. Potiphar had a woman, his wife, and the wife of Potiphar is having all her dreams all about Yosef. And she wants him. And she was also beautiful. And she tries to tempt Yosef. And Yosef, all alone, right? He's a man, beautiful man. It's very hard for him. But still he says to her, your husband, my master, he didn't stop me from having anything. I'm running this place. The only thing he spared for me was you. How can I take you? I cannot do that. And on that moment, Yosef gets the honor of becoming a tzaddik, a real righteous person. Not because he's just studying Torah, Not because he's learning about all the things that he did, not because he was sold as a slave, because he really held his, lust, and he didn't want to betray the trust of his master. But that was not enough for the wife of Potiphar. She grabbed him. She waited for a time that her husband was not home. She grabbed Yosef in his clothes and she tried to force him to have relations with her. Now, at that moment, Yosef tries to run away. And as he runs away, she grabs him again on his coat, and he continues to run, and his clothing stays with her. Then the wife of Potiphar is so upset, she screams, and she calls everyone. She calls her husband, and she says that Yosef tried to rape her. Now here is a very interesting thing. Even though she said that, and she showed the clothing to everyone as, as an evidence, Potiphar takes the clothing. He looks at it, and he knows that she's lying and that Yosef didn't do that. How did he know that? Right? How did he know that? So let me tell you, when Yosef came to her and she said, "Come to me," he turned away and tried to run away from her. So when you're holding someone at the back hard and he's running, the shirt is going to be ripped at the front. But when someone is coming at you and you're holding them and they're trying to run, it's going to be ripped at the back. And Yosef's shirt was ripped from the front. He tried to run and she was holding him, grabbing him, walking after him until he tripped. And Potiphar knew. But even though he knew, he threw Yosef to jail. He couldn't have the shame of everyone knowing that his wife was the one to be blamed. And Yosef goes to jail. Again, Yosef didn't do anything wrong, and he's been thrown to jail. But Yosef knows whatever is happening to me in my life is for a reason. Maybe I'm going through all these tortures, but there is a reason. And as soon as he goes to jail, he just starts all over. And even in jail, he comes and just looks around. What can I help? What can I do? How can I take responsibility? And very soon, he becomes the manager of the jail. He's a prisoner himself, but he becomes the manager of the jail because the owner of the jail sees that he is someone to be trusted. He is really a ruler. So he becomes the ruler of the jail. And in the jail, at one point, 2 ministers of Paro are being thrown to jail, and they have a weird dream, and they come and they tell the dreams to Yosef, and Yosef solved the dreams, and exactly what he says, that's what's happening. He solved it perfectly. And before they go, he tells them, "Don't forget me." Then he says again, "Don't forget me." In the Midrash, they say that because he said it twice, he stayed for 2 more years than he should have in jail. Because they were sent from Hashem, and it was almost the right time to go out. Now this parasha, the power that it has, first of all, the lesson and the power that it brings with it, is the power of speech. This whole week is our battlefield to gain the power of knowing what to say, when to say, and to who we're going to say that. Right? Even Yosef, when he was right, some things, even when you're right, you should not say. If you're about to start something new in your life, be very careful who you're telling your plans to. Because whatever is hidden, whatever is not out there, attracts less evil eye. Better to keep it quiet. Maybe tell it to your husband or wife or your best friend, but be careful. And when you talk, don't open all your cards. Wait, check Check if the other person is ready to even get what you want to tell them. If they are good people, if they are people that really care for you. And if not, better not to say anything. And another thing that Yosef did, he would always tell his dad things that his brothers did. And he would always jump to conclusions, right? Because he was always saying things. And he always jumped to harsh conclusions that weren't always right. It looked right to him. So to think before you talk. So it's not just to who and what. It's like, think about it first. Hold it in instead of shooting it out. This is something very important that we can get in this parasha. And another thing is that the light is with us. Hashem is with us when it's good and when it's bad. In this parasha, in chapter 37, verse 12, there are 2 dots above the word et. V'elchu echav lirot et tzon avihem b'Shechem. Those 2 dots are like extra light to show us the Creator, Hashem, is with us there. He was there. There was a reason why Yosef was taken to Egypt. And we know that later on he becomes a ruler. But a good ruler he has to prove himself. He has to prove himself when he's in a pit. He has to prove himself even if he's just, a simple worker, a slave even. And even when he was in jail. Are you breaking now? Are you a strong partner? Can I trust you to be kind to people, to know how to talk to them, to know how to care for them with no matter what you're going through? Then I can trust you to be a good ruler. And that's what happened later on with Yosef. Yosef, with all that he went through, never saw himself as a victim. Never saw himself as a victim. Always knew there's a bigger picture that I don't see, and I always have to do my part and to take my responsibility and to do everything as best as I can, no matter what.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.